Welcome to Jesus and Jiu-Jitsu Podcast, episode 064. This is Stephen Little, and I'm here with
Isaac Tauaefa,
Josh Straussberger,
JP Dinnell. What's up, y'all?
the boys are
Good
back.
morning.
Yeah, man.
All four.
all four.
All four. Don't dab him up.
Why?
They did it anyway.
Yeah.
I know. I have no leadership capital, apparently. Need to work on that.
Too many withdrawals showing up 2 minutes late.
It was actually 2.5 minutes.
2.5 minutes. Yeah.
0.5. I mean,
Say it, JP. What are you gonna say?
No, I'm sure Josh wasn't going to bring up any of the other island times that you've adhered to.
With Josh is the funny thing is Josh is usually the first person here, but
Yeah.
but yeah.
the one time. That
yeah, that's why it's funny. So
That's why it's funny.
respect.
Hollywood. Respect.
I float back and forth between being early or, yep, hey, I'll see you guys in 15 minutes after our start time.
Yeah,
But I'm bringing you coffee to make up for it.
Oh, that is
Nobody's
always a
saying
win.
nothing about that.
Coffee,
It's
breakfast
still late.
burritos.
I remember my first platoon. One of my, I was going to be late, headed into work, and I text my LPO, and I told him, I'm like, hey, I'm super sorry. I overslept. I was like, hey, I overslept. I'm on my way in. I'm going to be late. He's like, cool, no factor. Stop by Burger's Bagels and get bagels and coffee for everybody. And I was like, roger that. And just showed up with just like boxes full of like
Everybody's like,
bagels, cream cheese, and
You're on
coffee.
time this whole time.
Nobody cared. And he's like, hey, I appreciate you being honest and saying you overslept. I appreciate you letting me know. Make sure it doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
If it does, you better show up with bagels or breakfast burritos.
Right.
I was like, roger that,
Peace
man.
offerings.
Yeah.
Yep.
I still got tuned up later. I mean,
I always go back to my first FTX, and I'm 5 minutes early, and I walk in, and Jesse Rembert goes, "You late, bro?" And I was like, "Well, like I'm super nervous to perform anyway," and I'm like, "Well, I'm 5 minutes early." He goes, "If you're 5 minutes early, you're 10 minutes late."
and all the gear had already been loaded.
Everything had been low. I literally didn't do anything to help, and I was like, "Check." This time is different. Okay, got it.
What you got for us?
Well, let's start with the sponsors of the episode. So, sponsor of today's episode is Kyle Yoakum, Yoakum's Rod Shop, our brother. Yeah,
come on,
yay, a collective yay.
An
Yay.
OG sponsor.
Yeah, he's such a good dude, man. And so his shop is up there in Sunbury, North Carolina. Does metal fabrication and welding and right for cars. I mean, what is
and like
the name of metal
antique restoration.
Yeah. I mean those.
Apparently a titan of metal fabricating.
Mm-hmm. According to our other mutual friend.
Yeah, that's not Kyle's words. That's other people telling us
other
about
people
him.
that work in the industry.
Yep, and have learned from him.
Yeah.
He came in town last year to teach a class at Gas Monkey Garage, which is cool. I mean, they don't just
that's
fly
a big
anybody.
deal.
in.
Yeah, it's
Like,
kind of a
that's-
big deal. Of
Yeah.
course, he didn't say anything about it.
Yeah.
Our mutual friend Pat was like, "I'm gonna be here," and he put two and two together. We knew Kyle, and he was like, "That dude is legit."
Yeah.
We're like, "Oh,
Well, his Instagram.
his Instagram does prove
the cars are legit.
Yeah.
He's-
Yeah. That's pretty
Oh, hey,
Thank
you know
you.
what one of our other sponsors is?
Come on.
JP Dinnell?
I'll pretend.
3, 2.
I missed it.
I've already been
Do it
sipping.
under the table.
so disgusting.
Already been sipping.
Danny Ziem, you know too. It's that Jocko fuel.
Yeah. Oh, congrats to Danny Zine.
He needs one of these.
New baby.
new baby's here.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful
I'll
baby
congratulate
boy.
him on that. If it was a belt, I was going to say there's no
Oh
congratulations.
no,
for me.
absolutely not.
No, he's running from his belt, but he can't run from his baby. Baby Ace was coming one way or another.
Congrats, Danny.
That is
And
a beautiful baby boy. And also, Joe Pass
Yes.
just had his daughter.
Yeah.
She was born. Carlos Mendez just had his son born.
Yeah.
It's awesome, man.
That is, man.
Freaking
big moments.
Big
So, on that Jocko fuel, it is the cleanest energy in the game, on the mats, in the gym, for life. It's the energy drink you want your grandparents drinking. It's the energy drink you want your kids drinking. Why? Because it's clean. Absolutely no preservatives. It's the first ever fully pasteurized energy drink so that there are no preservatives. It's got 95 megs of naturally occurring caffeine, some nootropics for the focus. Hopefully that kicks in for all 4 of us today.
That's why I started before I came.
And here's the thing. You get on JockoFuel.com and you use the code JJJ10. It's going to save you 10% off your order, and it's going to help benefit our ministry to help fund the things we do, like this podcast, like buying Bibles at our events, and all the other aspects of Jesus and Jiu-Jitsu ministry that we function, which is a big part of that, giving back to Pursuit, Walking in Truth Ministries. And there's just so much that we have going on now, and the outreach is starting to extend, which we're excited about. Also, if you want to get in, as y'all mostly probably know, Jocko Fuel has the cleanest protein powder in the game, the Mulk. It's got full of probiotics to help you digest that protein, sweetened with monk fruit, just like the Go. All his products are sweetened with monk fruit, so it's fully natural, sugar-free, none of the artificial sweeteners like most of those things have. You got creatine, you got Time War, you got vitamin D, anything you need. The joint warfare, man, for lifting, for jiu-jitsu, the Jocko Joint Warfare is a game changer. On top of that,
that new Hydrate RTD is out. Fruit Punch.
I get in trouble with those.
Fruit Punch.
It's good. I like the blueberry or the
Blue Raz.
Blue Raz. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Solid.
My favorite too.
yeah.
Yeah, I would say that orange is. They're all really good.
They are.
Like the lemon lime Aiden was drinking the other day, and he's like, it's like Sprite. He's like, but better. And I'm like, yeah. But that fruit punch is unreal.
I've been waiting for a Fruit Punch.
So
Me
back
too.
to my info.
I'll give you one.
Back to my infomercial.
Yeah,
If you're watching on YouTube, which I hope you are, if you're not, you should jump over, and you can notice my gorgeous Origin shirt.
Yeah.
Right? Origin Maine, like the state.com, or originusa.com. They both work, whichever you prefer to type. If you're an OG Origin fan, you're going to type Maine in because that was the first website, originmaine.com.
So it's already stored in your browser.
You're going to find the best dirt-to-shirt, fully American-made jiu-jitsu gis, rash guards, no-gi shorts, running apparel, lifting apparel, training apparel, lifestyle apparel, hunting apparel, all made right here in the USA with American cotton, weaved in Maine, USA.
Seen it with my own eyes.
Right? Built by American workers. So if you want to support an American company that is truly helping America bring back manufacturing, you need to buy Origin clothing. You need to be wearing an Origin gi because from our experience, some of these other massive brands get ripped if JP or Isaac grabs your lapel. They'll rip your lapel right off your gi. But
I actually have.
we have never seen an Origin gi rip
No.
Isaac has never ripped my gi.
No.
because it's Origin.
But I only wear Origin.
That's it.
That's not a slight against Isaac.
So here's the thing.
Or is
JJJ10 also saves you money on your Origin gis, rash guards, and clothing. So get in that game as well. And we appreciate, in all sincerity, I made a joke about an infomercial. It's a lot of information, but we really appreciate Jocko Fuel and Origin and their sponsorship of us, but we really appreciate y'all's using those codes and also supporting us.
So something exciting on the Origin front, we have, I'll say it, we have initiated the order process with our rash guards.
Bro, you just blew up the DMs.
Yeah, no. Here, I'll stop you from DMing us. We don't have a lead time yet, and then the first ones we get will be available to the in-person events. Okay, so if you want one, you can come to the in-person event. We're not sure if we're going to have them for the next one. That date will be announced soon. But we will. But just exciting because they've been listening for a long time, and we've been saying for a year that we're going to get them going. So we're working on those right now, and it's exciting. I mean, and they'll be coming from Origin, which
Stay
is more
tuned.
exciting.
Stay tuned. Watch the Instagram page. We will let you know.
Yeah. But it's been initiated.
You don't have to
Initiate
ask
it.
us.
You don't need to ask us.
I mean, you should still keep asking.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like when
Especially
Specifically
Available
JP Dinnell on Instagram.
I'm good with that.
yeah.
They'll go to my hidden messages, and I'll just never respond. Like 90%
Blow up his
of
comments
the
on his
messages.
post.
Yes, please do that.
Yep.
Thank you for the algorithm boost.
Yes. There you go.
Actually, you can email JP or call him at
Don't give him a session.
Feel free. 555.
555.
Yep.
Why is everyone's phone number in Hollywood 555?
My kids, we were watching Facing the Giants the other day or something. the whatever the Christian films.
Oh
that
yeah,
come
that's
out.
it. Yeah.
And they all the numbers on there, and I think Jarrett was like, "What would happen if I called that?" And I was like, "Nothing, probably nothing, sir."
Nothing. No.
Dude, Jared's getting big.
I know, right?
Like all of a sudden you're like,
out of nowhere.
yeah. Yep.
Makes me feel old.
Yeah, man.
That'll do it.
You are because I am.
That it is weird seeing your kid get just like from one day to the next. You're just like, wait, when'd you get that tall or that heavy?
Yeah.
I noticed it because Zeke fell asleep somewhere where he was on my bed and I was moving him somewhere and just ridiculously dense now. I'm like, what in the world? When did you get this heavy?
Yeah.
I held you yesterday. You weren't that heavy.
Some growth spurts.
Yeah, eating
it's
steak.
crazy how
That
that's so
burrito
fast.
you fed him, bro.
It's not a burrito fan. He is a steak fan though.
He's not a burrito fan.
Yeah,
Uncle Josh Burger.
We'll work
Yeah.
on that. We'll work on him.
yeah. You'd love that. We do have one more sponsor. So the other sponsor for today is Resurrection Construction. Great people, awesome leadership. My friend Alan Smith. So I'm just going to read this blurb one more time. He doesn't care if I read this blurb or not, but so I want to just honor him and his company. Read it one more time. So Resurrection Construction, under Christ-centered ownership, our mission is to elevate the standard of excellence in multifamily unit housing through meticulous craftsmanship and unwavering dedication. We are committed to providing top-tier door and trim insulation services and enhancing the aesthetics, functionality, and value of every project we undertake. With a steadfast focus on quality, integrity, and client satisfaction, we strive to exceed expectations and breathe new life into every space we touch. Resurrection Construction Company, LLC, building dreams one door at a time with Christ as our cornerstone. So,
And he sponsored and said, "You don't have to shout me out at all, right?"
yeah, he sponsored a lot of them. It
Yeah.
was just like, go.
Yeah.
So I just want to,
Such a
do
small
the honoring
world.
thing.
Because I met him a few years back on a golf course.
Yeah.
And,
Really?
yeah, and we traded information, and
He's hard to miss on a golf course.
yeah, he's kind of like, I mean, I'm not a typical, I don't really golf much, but I'm not a typical golfer.
Yeah.
But he's a big old dude.
Beefy
Yeah.
dude with used to have a big old handlebar mustache.
Years and years and years and years in the weight room.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good dude.
Yeah.
It's legit.
So it's cool. Actually, he started this Resurrection Construction Company with my dad, and then my dad got into a different industry, and Alan kept it going. And but he's such an awesome dude, and just known my family for a really long time, and like super welcoming. If you just meet him and you're in the vicinity, you're gonna hear him, you're gonna see him. He's gonna come up, slap you on the back, give you a hug. What's up, brother? Just the coolest dude, man.
Nice.
So,
Well, we
but a
appreciate
really
it.
God honoring
Yeah.
dude.
That's
so.
cool. Like what he did was awesome.
Yep.
Like
Super trying to fly under the radar.
Yeah, that's him.
Gonna shout you out anyway.
Yep. Well, so thank you guys. Thank you to Yoakum's Rod Shop. Thank you to Resurrection Construction. Thank you to Jocko Fuel and Origin. We appreciate you guys. Thanks for making this possible. It's awesome.
it's funny. Steven was talking about how he stands out on a golf course, and so does this guy also. I saw a post or an Instagram story the other day of Jocko in a polo and a hat, and I recognized the logo, and I was like, and I recognize it was wearing a golf shirt, but the hat he was wearing, it was with our buddy Bobby. Bobby was in Tascina Bruiser. He was in Charlie Platoon. He was just a legit breacher. The guy was incredible with what he did. And anyways, he's a big golfer, and it's the same thing. Like you look at him, and you're like, you don't look like a typical like golfer. He's just and he's a big freaking frogman, man.
Yeah.
He is a frogman. And anyways, he started a golf apparel company, and it's like it was awesome seeing like Jocko wearing his stuff and him wearing his stuff, and you're like, I think it's really going to kick off because like as more and more people are getting into golf, like it's just a different style.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
it just has that like little bit of that extra masculine edge to it that 99.9% of the golfers out there want and are liking. So anyways, it was just
That's
cool.
legit.
And
As long
as
as they
you
have-
were saying that, I just boom, that
long as they have
flashed into my brain.
Gorilla sizes, I'm in. Which
well,
obviously they
Yeah,
do.
if Jocko's wearing it.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
That's a big
They've
one.
got the medium. He's a
know.
medium gorilla.
Medium girl.
I'll pay for that later. Yeah. Someone will tell him. All right.
I'll tell him. Lucas is texting him right now. What are you doing, Ike?
Just
Little homework? Little
no,
homework?
No, underlining the scripture for today.
The he.
Yeah.
Hit us with it or whatever you
Yeah.
got.
Well, you know, we're kind of doing this little series right now, just reading an excerpt from a book that has impacted us, or we're working our way through something we gathered from. I had this book at home for a while by John Piper called "Don't Waste Your Life," and my wife read it, and she was like, "It's awesome. You should check it out." And so I'm finally working my way through it. But I was reading this passage, man, that was really impactful for me, and I thought it would be a good jumping off point for a conversation today with you guys. So obviously the whole point of this book is how to not waste your life. Like the things you should be focused on, the things you shouldn't be wasting your time on. If you're walking the Christian walk and you're living the Christian life, the things we should be fixated on. Well, one of the subheaders here is pressed by the Bible to know one thing. So this is about what you should be singularly focused on. So I'm reading out of
Before you even say anything, how I feel like this topic, I don't even know exactly what you're going to read, but it's such a struggle for me because, dude, everything is trying to get our attention.
oh man,
Especially in the world of like online advertisement, all this stuff. Like, people are literally trying to buy our attention constantly,
dude. So here I'll read this. This is to your point about the things pulling you in different directions. This is on the page before the part I'm going to read, but it says, talking about a single soul-satisfying passion for the supremacy of God in all things. It says, how serious is the word single? Jocko goes coming back up. Can life really have that life? Can life really have that much singleness of purpose? Can work and leisure and relationships and eating and lovemaking and ministry all really flow from a single passion? Is there something deep enough and big enough and strong enough to hold that all together? It says, can intimacy and cars and work and war and changing diapers and doing taxes really have a God-exalting, soul-satisfying unity? So obviously he's saying if that single soul-satisfying thing that your life is going toward, if there is a single thing, it has to be big enough to encompass all those things. So,
that makes sense.
Yeah, pressed by the Bible to know one thing. The Apostle Paul said that his life and ministry were riveted on a single aim. And then 1 Corinthians 2:2, if you want to read that, Chief. It's right there.
What was that reference?
1 Corinthians 2:2.
For I decided to know nothing among you except Jesus Christ and him crucified.
So it says, right there. So Stephen just read it. That is astonishing. When you think of all the varied things Paul did, in fact, talk about, there must be a sense in which Jesus Christ and him crucified is the ground and sum of everything else he says. He is pushing us to see our lives with a single focus and for the cross of Christ to be that focused. You don't have to know a lot of things for your life to make a lasting difference in the world, but you do have to know the few great things that matter, perhaps just one, and then be willing to live for them and die for them. The people who make a durable difference in the world are not the people who have mastered many things, but who have been mastered by one great thing. If you want your life to count, if you want the ripple effect of the pebbles you drop to become waves that reach the end of the earth and roll on into eternity, you don't need to have a high IQ. You don't have to have good looks or riches or come from a fine family or a fine school. Instead, you have to know a few great, majestic, unchanging, obvious, simple, glorious things, or one great, all-embracing thing, and be set on fire by them. This next excerpt is different, but it's related, so I want to read it too. You may not be sure that you want your life to make a difference. Maybe you don't care very much whether you make a lasting difference for the sake of something great. You just want people to like you. If people would just like being around you, you'd be satisfied. Or if you could just have a good job with a good wife or a husband and a couple good kids and a nice car and long weekends and a few good friends, a fun retirement and a quick and easy death and no hell. If you could just have all that, even without God, you would be satisfied. That is a tragedy in the making. That is a wasted life. Man, just like this was such a sharpening thing, like sharpening my focus onto the thing that truly matters. Right. It was a call back to the thing that, you're right, like all of this other stuff is like, we say it all the time, and I think we all know we all know it. Like, there's only one thing that is truly important, eternal. But it gets so well in the focus of your life. Like, what is your goal? What is your aim? What is the thing? And I think we all would say, oh, to glorify God, to live for His glory, for His honor, to know Him and to love Him. But then our actions betray that.
Right.
And I'm speaking of myself. Like, I know why I exist. I know that I was made to glorify God in everything, and to spend my life like loving Him and cherishing and treasuring the gospel that He died for my sins, that there was no one worthy on earth but Jesus, and He made a way.
I like that beginning excerpt you read, because it shows that even something like doing your taxes can glorify God.
Yes.
Like literally we can live what you're describing. It's almost like we have to switch the filter that we look at everything through. It's almost like, I don't wear these, but it's almost like we need to put on these kingdom contacts lenses.
Yep.
So that everything we're doing is through this lens of, how do I glorify God in this, right?
Yes.
That's jeez. Sorry. I mean, we've talked about it a few times on here. Like my parents, like that was their big thing, is like honoring God with your actions, like through hard work, through being disciplined, like doing these things that we're talking about. It was, there was times that our family made good money, and there's times that our family, it was tight on money. And guess what? That's life. Like I've experienced that. You guys have all experienced that as well. And, that's never like a dishonor to you guys, or that's never a dishonor to my parents at all. I'm very thankful for like literally those ups and downs, because I look at how, my parents always maintained like this attitude of like, no, we're just going to work. We're going to work hard. We're going to honor God. And, that's like my mom and dad were always doing that.
Right.
And, like you were saying, Stephen, doing taxes, people don't like to do taxes. I get it, but it's what's in place.
Yeah.
And whether we like that or not, like, okay, it's what's in place, and we're supposed to honor God. And guess what? You're paying taxes on the money that He gave you anyways.
Right.
So what are you worried about?
Yeah.
Like, I know it sucks. Trust me. I am not citing.
It's definitely theft, but
yeah, I agree 100%.
But like in Matthew, it's literally, there's all kinds of talking about like, if you're a slave, you need to honor your master.
Right.
And that's one that JP and I've talked deeply about. Like, man, we almost have problems with this. But the point is, and it's like he says, Jesus also says, like, pay Caesar what Caesar's, right?
Yeah.
Talking specifically about taxes.
Yeah.
And it's like, maybe it's not right, but it doesn't mean you.
Well, so people get wrapped up on that one thing, which, trust me, I get it. I get pissed off every time I'm paying my taxes. I agree with all of you guys. However, I go back and I'm like, wait, the money that I'm paying taxes with was given to me from God.
Right.
He gave me opportunities. We worked hard. He blessed me. It's His. We tithed. It's His. You know what I mean? Like being intentional about switching our mindset to being overly generous, knowing like, hey, it can all be taken away.
Right.
And like that is just it's a hard one.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still something like I struggle with, and just because there's times I'm like, okay, all right, just when it comes to like finances and stuff like that. But it's like to what you're saying, and what you're saying is like, hey man, like just do it. Like do the right thing. We do the right things for the right reasons, and that's what the Bible is. The Bible's a guide to what we're supposed to do.
Well, and the flip side of that is, let's say you don't pay your taxes. What happens when you don't do that?
You're going to jail.
You go to jail.
You put your
How
family
much use
in a
are you?
really bad
And then
position.
where's your family? What's your testimony like?
Yeah. So
I mean, unless you're trying to get into prison ministry internally.
That's a
inside from the inside.
yeah, that's
I
an
wouldn't recommend
interesting
that path.
perspective.
No.
I mean,
Hilarious.
I think
I wouldn't recommend that path either.
you need to pay your taxes. I think you should find ways to be wise about it, because it's also poor stewardship if you're just like, sure, I owe you this large amount. It's like, let's find some ways that make sense for you.
Oh,
to,
legally, I am paying the least amount.
Of
possible.
course, yeah.
But I still pay.
You're
my
still
taxes.
paying your taxes, right?
Yeah.
I think a more, well, yeah. I mean, yeah. I think that's a great way to put it. And then tithing, of course.
If you need a tax write-off, I know a good place you can get one.
Yeah, right. Exactly. But man, this just, yeah.
No.
This got me focused again. You know, it got me thinking down the right path again of what was important in my life. There was another. Oh, go ahead.
When you read the part about what he's saying, if this is what you're chasing,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like an easy life.
Right.
Where is that little
Long
exit?
weekend.
Oh, here, yeah. So he said, you may not be sure that you want your life to make a difference. Maybe you don't care very much whether you make a lasting difference for the sake of something great. You just want people to like you.
Stop right there.
Yeah.
That has become such a theme, and y'all have heard me talk about this a few times. But so many of our decisions, are rooted by fear of man. So wanting someone to like you is a fear of man, right? Like, so you're letting your decisions be motivated by, well, if I do this, what are they going to think? If I do that, what are they going to think? If I don't do this, right? All your decisions are rooted in a fear of man instead of a positive reverence of God, meaning a fear of God, being in right standing with him, bringing glory to him, having a kingdom impact full life, right? That's just something I think there's so much it's rooted to it. It's so applicable in so many ways. But that's when you read that, all I heard was focused on the things that don't matter.
Yeah.
Which is being motivated by that unhealthy fear of how do people perceive me? How do they think? A fear of uncomfort, right? Fear of just wanting to be, how can everyone like me and how can I be comfortable versus how can I make an impact for the creator
Right.
that has not only created me, given me all the things I have, given me, like I know in my personal life, so many second chances that I don't deserve over and over and over and over again, and then restores the things I mess up
Right.
over and over and over and over again. And it gives us that eternal grace. So it's like, where's our motivation? Are we in fear of glorifying God and being in right standing with him and letting that drive us above the fear of man and being, in right? And like it could break down to something simple. If you find yourself maybe in business and you're trying to make a decision and all your decision making is based off, well, what is this client going to think? What are they going to do? If I stand up or stand out or do the moral thing, is this going to, you know what I mean? It's like, what is motivating those decisions?
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, that's to be concerned with that, to lead with that in mind, as he's saying here, is a wasted life.
Yeah.
And I just want to emphasize one thing for anyone that's maybe hearing this train of thought for the first time. The fear of the Lord, if you start studying the fear of the Lord, it's like a fear of being outside of right relationship with God, a fear of being separated from God, a fear of not pleasing the one who created us. It's like it's the only healthy fear
Yeah.
that exists.
Yep. And a sense of reverence for his holiness and
Absolutely.
to be in awe of who he is.
Right.
There's another, this is on the next page in this chapter. John Piper dedicated this book to Louis Giglio. And they had done a bunch of those passion conferences together. And so he talks a little bit about that, but this subheader is called "I Love the Vision of Louis Giglio." But he says Louis was calling young people to make a 268 declaration. The number comes from Isaiah 26:8. Sorry, so make a 26:8 declaration. The number comes from Isaiah 26:8. Yes, Lord, walking in the way of your laws, we wait for you. Your name and renown are the desire of our hearts. The first statement of the declaration says, because I was created by God and for his glory, I will magnify him as I respond to his great love. My desire is to make knowing and enjoying God the passionate pursuit of my life. I want to read that one more time before I read the next thing. The declaration says, because I was created by God for his glory, I will magnify him as I respond to his great love. My desire is to make knowing and enjoying God the passionate pursuit of my life. The vision of life holds out to these students and young adults so much more than the emptiness of mere success or the orgy of spring break. Here is not just a body, but a soul. Not just a soul, but a soul with a passion and a desire. Not just a desire for being liked or for playing softball or collecting seashells. Here it is a desire for something infinitely great and beautiful and valuable and satisfying, the name and the glory of God. Your name and your renown are the desire of our hearts. So just, again, focusing us on a single... Like,
What was that? Read that first part again.
Yeah, so Louis at these Passion conferences was calling these young people to make the 26:8 declaration. The number comes from Isaiah 26:8. Yes, Lord, walking in the way of your laws, we wait for you. Your name and renown are the desires of our hearts. The first statement of the declaration says, because I was created by God and for his glory, I will magnify him as a response to his great love. My desire is to make knowing and enjoying God the passionate pursuit of my life. An awesome declaration, like something that you're saying, this is what I declare over my life, that this is the purpose of my life, is to make knowing and enjoying God the passionate pursuit of my life. Like if you make that if that is your singular focus in the gospel, like Christ and what was he saying? 1 Corinthians 2:2. I decided to know nothing among you except Jesus Christ and him crucified. So the beauty of that truth, to live your life passionately for his glory, and also just to glorify him in everything you do, it's the other stuff just pales in comparison. You know, I mean, it makes it a lot easier to deal with hardship or petty people or frustration or being let down or any of that stuff, because it's like, well, I know the ultimate truth. I have the ultimate joy. I know where I'm headed. And so all this other stuff is just kind of, you know, because I think about like really godly people that I know, people have encouraged me. And I'm trying to think about how those people handle it, you know.
I didn't mean to distract you. You're supposed to keep talking.
Oh.
But you're right. Absolutely right.
Yeah. Yeah, I got distracted.
Derailed him completely.
Well, no, I mean, I guess it was right towards the end, but just that if that is the singular focus of your life, all the other stuff that's not that, it doesn't hold you down for very long. So it's easier to move on from heartache or disappointment or being let down, because
there's freedom in that.
Yeah.
Well, it's just like, I always wonder how people that don't believe in the cross and Christ and the resurrection and ultimately eternal life through that, how do they deal with death?
Yeah, man.
Of loved ones.
Yeah. They
Some of them actually feel, I don't know. I'm not going to open that door.
I'm just saying there's such a hope that comes.
Yes.
There's such a hope and peace that comes in knowing the truth from the Bible.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's just one example of dealing with a hardship in your life.
Yeah.
That everyone deals with
Right.
at some point.
Yeah,
Right.
I feel like, yeah. You got something, JP?
I was just going to say, it's crazy to me. I've been thinking about it a lot lately. Like if I had the opportunity to talk with somebody about belief in God and not, and Jesus, you know, the Holy Spirit and all that stuff. I've been thinking about, it's also cool because it's one of those things that is undeniable in regards to like the feeling that we've all felt. So with that, it's pretty powerful that you can have that conviction, because if you have felt the presence of God and the Holy Spirit, it's undeniable.
Undeniable.
Like when I had my daughters on my podcast and they were talking about feeling the presence of God.
Right.
There is not one person in the earth that could convince my two daughters that God isn't real.
Right.
Same with Aiden. He's felt the presence of God. You know, I have, Amanda has, all of you guys have. And so it's one of those things where people are like, well, I just don't believe in these things. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you haven't felt his presence yet. You will.
Right.
You will one day, whether you seek it or it's too late and you're like standing in the presence of God on Judgment Day, which that's not the moment that you want to be experiencing his presence for the first time. But it was just, it's just,
Talk about your stomach dropping.
No.
you're like, I was wrong that whole time.
Yeah.
Yep, you were. But which is heartbreaking because I don't want anybody to be wrong about that. I don't want anybody not to go to heaven. But it's just like one of those things where it's cool because I think that gives us the ability to properly build the kingdom through our actions, our words, our testimony. What I'm hearing you read is testimony.
Yeah.
It's what you do, how you live your life. It's very similar to a verse that I had that I'm gonna probably do on my podcast in the near future is Proverbs 27:18. A worker who, and this was based off of a question that a buddy had given me. He was struggling with this, and then we were talking through it, and then that's why I just wrote it down because I was just reading through Proverbs earlier. I was like, oh, cool, that's my answer. I get to give it to my buddy. I don't have to have to like, hey, read this. What do you think? Is Proverbs 27:17. As workers who tend a fig tree are allowed to eat the fruit, so workers who protect their employees' interest will be rewarded. He's having a hard time because one of his guys did something that definitely should not have done at work. And it's a good dude. Unfortunate situation. There's a group of these guys that he's going to have to like address, basically them like abusing their company credit card. And my buddy was just kind of struggling with that. And, I gave him advice just from like, hey, when I was a sales manager, I was giving him very like, it was just non-biblical advice.
Right.
It's like, hey, like practical, like,
standard
hey,
practical.
Here's some things that we put into place. Here, you know what I mean? Like the review like, hey, itemize receipts. Like, okay, start doing, like just like stuff like that to where it comes down to like, you have to inspect what you expect of your guys sometimes. And if trust has been broken, they can rebuild it. However, there's a process to it. And we're just going through it, but he was kind of struggling with the bigger picture, but anyways, my whole thing that I was going down is just, just being intentional. And, as Christians, if we're intentional with living our lives to honor God, then we're going to do the right things. We're going to pay our taxes when we don't want to pay our taxes. Right. We're like yesterday when, I don't even want to share. My intent is not, I haven't told anybody, and I normally wouldn't, but it just popped in my brain. Like, I have a problem with homeless people. They frustrate me, and I'm very judgmental towards them most of the time. And that's legitimately something I've been praying that God would soften my heart. Yeah. Full disclosure. Yeah. I'm like, like it just bothers me.
Well, I'm glad you, sorry, I want you to finish it, but I'm just saying I think it's good that you said that because you're probably not the only person out there that's ever had a frustration with someone because of maybe some people you've known in person that choose not to.
Exactly.
Okay, sorry.
And I know some are, it's, unfortunate choices that they've made have led to these circumstances. And then there are some that I know just choose that lifestyle because it's just, it's easy.
I own a business in Denton, so
you deal with them constantly.
Out there,
So, and my mom at her store in Denton is dealing, it's just frustrating.
Yes.
Anyways, I know that man or woman is a child of God.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I don't look at them that way, but I need to.
Yes.
I don't look at them like the way that I look at like my kids or your kids or somebody else at church. That when I say I don't look at them that way, that's what I mean. Like, but I need to. And so yesterday I was returning some equipment at Home Depot, and I was like, oh, I gotta refill it with gas. So I went by the gas station, and I'm getting gas, and I'm just thirsty and dehydrated. I'm like, I want a Gatorade so bad. And so I'm walking in, and there's this like dirty homeless guy just sitting outside. I'm like, man, why? Like, why, bro? Like, why? And then I was like, okay. And I was just like, hey, man, because I won't give him money. I'm not going to give him money, but I'll give you food. Yeah. And I was like, hey, man, you want something to eat? He's like, no, I'm good. I'm like, okay, cool. And I was like, something to drink? He was like, I have a water. Thank you. And I'm like, okay. He goes, man, could you get me like a Coca-Cola? I'm like, yeah, I'll get you. And he's like a candy bar? I'm like, yep. Snickers good? He's like, yeah, okay. And then it's funny because it reminded me of eating a Snickers bar and drinking a Coke. That was what my mom's dad would feed us for lunch whenever we wanted when we go visit, because he called that the pilot's lunch. So back in World War II, a lot of the pilots, that's what they would eat when they're up in the airplanes and they're running their missions and training is they'd have a Coke and a Snickers bar or a Coke and a Hershey's bar.
Yeah.
And so I always think of those as a pilot lunch. So on my grandfather's birthday every year, we would always eat that growing up from when he passed, even when he's alive and then when he passed away. And so I was just it was funny, like that little interaction with that homeless guy brought me that joy of thinking about my grandfather. And I was just like, cool. So I went in there. Well, as I'm like getting my stuff, the guy goes outside and is like kicking the guy out. I'm like, dang it, man. I'm like, and he was just kind of getting on to the guy. And I guess the guy told him, he's like, hey, some guy's buying me a Coke and a Snickers bar. When I get that, I'll leave. I'm assuming that's what he said. Guy comes back in the register. I put my stuff down. He goes, you're the Coke and Snickers bar guy? And I'm like, yes, sir. He's like, you're a good man. I'm like, not really, but I try to be, like, once in a while. I was like, that's my joke. Like, once a week I do something good. And so I was just like laughing at the guy, and we're talking. He's like, yeah, he's like, it's frustrating. He's like, I can't have him out in front of the store because it deters people from coming here. I'm like, no, I get it for sure. He goes, but that's super cool. He's like, I always try to offer them, because at the end of the day or the week, he's like, we have extra food that we're going to have to throw away. He goes, I've done it before, and he goes, I need to be better at giving up that stuff to them. And so, only reason why I shared that story, I didn't want to share the story because I didn't do it so that I could tell people about it, but it was just trying to be intentional,
right.
Not just doing the things that like are cool and that are like, oh yeah, hey, doing that means I'm a good Christian. I'll do that. But
one,
I struggle with that,
tough.
man. I'm not gonna lie. I struggle with like,
what's crazy?
Across the board doing those things.
Yeah.
Lucas,
and I need to.
Lucas said something to me a couple months ago that's just, I felt so simple and so profound. He basically said, as Christians, we all have the same purpose. Lucas, you can correct me if I use the wrong wording, but like we all have the same purpose. And he's like, it's given to us by Jesus, and it's all throughout the Bible, essentially to take care and love like widows, orphans, and the poor. Is that right, Lucas?
Yeah. James says true religion that God honors is to take care of widows and orphans in their time of need, and to not forget the poor.
Yeah.
So that when you said that to me, I was kind of like,
It's so funny that you guys took this turn, because there was this other excerpt that I have highlighted here that I'll read. So it says,
I would say that's such a coincidence.
I know, right? Huge coincidence about. So it says, what does it mean to love people? The idea has been almost totally distorted. Love has to do with showing a dying soul the life-giving beauty of the glory of God, especially His grace. Yes, as we will see, we show God's glory in 100 practical ways that include care about food and clothes and shelter and health. That's what Jesus meant when He said, let your light shine before others so that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father who is in heaven. Every good work should be a revelation of the glory of God. What makes the good deed an act of love is not the raw act, like the raw act of buying a Coke and candy bar, but the passion and the sacrifice to make God Himself known as glorious. Not to aim to show God is not to love, because God is what we need most deeply, and to have all else without Him is to perish in the end. The Bible says that you can give away all that you have and deliver your body to be burned and have not love. 1 Corinthians 13:3. If you don't point people to God for everlasting joy, you don't love. You waste your life.
yeah.
Coincidence.
Man, it's crazy. So even the act of taking care of people, but without doing it with the love of God, is wasteful.
The intent behind it.
There's a church back home, and the pastor did this as a test. He dressed up. He got like super dirty, nasty, like looked like a legit homeless guy, and was close to. He was literally on the route of everybody coming into the church, and he had a sign up. And bro,
I bet that sermon was.
He walked out on stage, dressed how he was out there with the sign, and I might be mixing this up in my brain. But I think the big thing on that was the people that stopped to give him money and offer him help were
We're not going to church.
No.
Oh.
That's where I was going.
The ones that did that were the ones that, if you were to judge by how they were dressed and what cars they were driving, had the least amount.
Oh yeah.
So the people in his congregation, it wasn't the people driving the GMCs and the Yukons and, the lifted trucks and the nice cars and, all the SUVs and everything. It was all the beater vehicles that came to his church. They all gave something.
Well, it's similar to, like they say,
You get so insulated sometimes where you're like,
if you ever talk to people that deliver pizzas,
Oh,
they normally
yeah.
say the richer the neighborhood, the worse the tip.
yeah.
I can factually
Yeah.
back that up.
Okay. And it goes because of typically the people that are, what I've heard or believe is the people that maybe don't have as much. Maybe they've been closer, like they've worked in food service recently, so they know what it's like, so they tip better.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
So it's like once
Because
you
like
get
that's me. That's
right.
me in that.
Or I was there
Yeah.
5 years ago,
Yeah.
so I want
Yeah.
to tip better. And so if you, I think that's something to look at, not just financially, but financially it's good. Like as you move up, don't forget where you came from, or the fact that some of these other people are on their rise, and don't forget to be generous when you can.
Dude, we hook. If someone delivers a pizza, we hook them up.
Yeah.
Like our family just knows.
That's
And
awesome.
it's also,
Because you delivered pizzas.
yeah, we always did that. But then after that point, I was like, oh, because you never know. Like
Right.
you don't, like you can't judge somebody off of that. And my favorite, and Steven, you've been when we've done this before. My favorite is Waffle House. Go to Waffle House and then just, I'm not going to say the amount, but you leave a nice healthy tip, and it's separate, right? So you have your bill, you tip on there, and then this is a, hey, thank you, just as an extra as you walk out. And it's cool.
I saw a meme last night about Waffle House. It's like the chef was wearing an ankle monitor, but it was worth it.
100%.
Yeah.
That's Waffle House activities, right?
Those cooks are some of the most talented, like
Short order
linemen,
cooks, just-
short order cooks, like in the industry wide.
Yeah.
Like a couple different restaurants that Amanda's worked at, if they had Waffle House line cook on their resume, it was a hire on the spot.
It's like hiring a combat employee, that's been in combat before. You're like, I know this guy's seen some stuff. That's what Waffle House is. They're like hand-to-hand combat.
I mean,
biological
fighting with
warfare,
chairs.
fighting with chairs.
I didn't know where you're going with that, and I was like,
This isn't totally redeemed yourself.
The PTSD. I mean, they've been through it, dude, and they can do anything. That's why I'm saying
Dude.
they're overqualified for the job.
This is not related, but I'm gonna give you a Waffle House.
Like
There's only
like when I tried to get the job at Lowe's for loss prevention, and they wouldn't hire me, and I'm like,
What?
Are you serious? Nobody's getting out of here.
But
with
if you
it.
told them you worked at Waffle House, I bet they would have hired you. Like, this dude can throw hands for sure.
So there's only I have one pro tip for Waffle House. I've been a Waffle House fan for years. Just recently learned this, like this year on FTX. Me and Jesse and Justin went and ate at Waffle House, and
If you just learned this, does your years of experience even count?
yes, for
yeah.
sure.
Oh yeah, this is a.
I had just never been seated there. Never sit if you can help it in front of where the dishes are washed,
Yeah.
because you will 100% get splashed with dishwater on your food and in your coffee, and they do not care.
I didn't know that.
I mean, I ate it anyway, but
Yeah, I mean it's soapy water. It's fine.
Oh, so you learned it from the bad side.
yeah. So I'm just giving one little
That
pro
is
tip.
Good. That is good pro tip.
I've learned. I've been to Waffle House a few times. Like
So
probably
you don't
3
you have
times.
no authority to speak.
No, I'm not speaking from authority. I'm actually just making an observation.
Okay.
That actually happened 2 out of the 3 times I've been to Waffle House. The cook was smoking a cigarette inside while cooking.
That's when they were good.
That's
That's when
crazy.
they were extremely good.
That's probably was at their peak.
They've lost some.
Serious Waffle House at their peak.
Like
It was like 20.
the ashes are falling into the hash
2015, I
browns,
think.
seasoning them.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like, is
yeah,
that
yeah.
pepper? Is that ash? I don't know.
But I was like, this
Don't
is
know,
about to
don't
be
care.
either be real good or real bad, and it was real good.
Always real good.
Yeah, yeah.
JP introduced me to Waffle House in like the last 2 years.
Yeah, since we've known each other.
That's
Yes.
a good guy to go to Waffle House with.
Yeah.
Late night.
Yeah,
Here's
that's
what
what I
I've
mean.
determined. What I've determined in my very limited Waffle House experience is that the late night Waffle House cooks are better than the breakfast cooks.
There's something
Just what I've
happening.
experienced.
Yes, from his experience,
Okay.
factual. overall because I've experienced it in breakfast and so have you before. It's so funny you said that because I was getting ready to say this. I was so disappointed when I received I felt like it was an attack on my family when because Steven, we had Waffle House and it was incredible. And then he's all excited and fired up. So he takes his wife. And it was Brody with you, right?
Yeah, he was just.
And so you guys went to the one off of 114.
Yep.
And it wasn't that great the next day. Or no, that morning that they went, it wasn't that great. And he had hyped it up to his wife and son, and they're like, "Oh,
Oh, really?
I mean, it was
This is it?
I don't think I.
You're like, how dare you?
I don't think I fully prepared her for I mean, I think she knew. I don't know if she must never eat at Waffle House either, but you have to be prepared for sticky tables and booths.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Oh yeah.
kind of dirty.
menus.
I think that's things I take for granted when I hype it up real big.
Yeah.
I'm just used to it. I know that's
Yeah,
what it's
you
going
know,
to be.
I didn't fully prepare her because then she walked in and she's like, "What? Where did you take me?"
yeah."
I'm like, "Wait for it. It's gonna be worth it." And then her stuff came out cold. Of course, I'm like, "Well."
It's usually worth it.
That's how I felt when I was hyping up this barbecue place. I won't say the name, but I was hyping up this barbecue
Yeah, you
place.
failed us massively.
We did an event, and this place was phenomenal. And I had the catering too, which catering is not as good, right? Hold on, let me explain.
Faulkner's.
I wasn't
Okay.
at that one. I'm like,
Hold on.
I missed this.
005.
Yep, I remember.
So
I wasn't there.
So my brother and I played this gig at this private house. We did this private gig at this guy's house. We played
Must be
music.
nice.
Yeah,
Must
it was
be
cool.
nice.
It was cool.
Where's your shirt?
That's cool.
Yeah. So we did this. We played music for this guy. They catered this barbecue place, and the barbecue place came in, and it was, like I said, it was catered. So it's not even as good as when you just get it hot and fresh at the place. And it was amazing. There was probably 30 people there. They fed, and it was so good. Josh and I were like, we got to go back here.
Not me, his brother.
Yeah, my brother Josh. We got to go back here. Well, so we finally had the opportunity when we did that event, and then we went afterward, and it was one of the worst experiences I've ever had. And I'm sitting there like, man, I can't wait for these guys to try it because I just made this recommendation. And we're all waiting in line. They're out of everything. Their AC's broken. It's hot in
Leadership
there.
capital withdrawal.
Oh, massive withdrawal. Bankrupted me for sure. Leadership capital bankrupt.
In my head, when it comes to you recommending food, you lost 100 pounds.
I did. Yeah. I did. I'm
Like
just
at
as
that
good
point,
as
you went
100.
you went from a 280 Samoan to a 180 pound guy.
Yeah,
And I'm like,
that's-
you have no cred.
Yeah.
Skinny,
you
You
don't-
got to earn that back.
If you don't weigh at least 200 pounds, I don't want you telling me anything about food.
Agreed. And I'll say the same thing about skinny chef. No, I'm not going to your restaurant. Okay, skinny barbecue guy. Something's wrong with your barbecue. You should look like. There's a guy I love on YouTube
That's
named
gonna
Malcolm Reed.
pass away when he's 53. But go
That's
ahead,
right,
keep
right.
going.
But it was
Exactly
amazing
right.
53 years
Yeah,
of
I
barbecue.
mean, 53 years of finger licking goodness. You know what I'm saying?
Serving up that lovin'.
Yeah. So how to barbecue right? This guy's taught me so much about grilling steak and cooking different cuts of meat. That dude. And you just look at him, you're like, that guy knows barbecue.
Yeah, he's a
Killer
big-
Hogs barbecue.
Yeah, he's
Oh,
a
yeah,
big
yeah.
boy.
He
Malcolm?
knows Malcolm Reed.
Yeah.
Welcome back to How to Barbecue Right. I'm Malcolm Reed.
Is he from Mississippi? Is he the one from
Yeah,
Mississippi?
Mississippi. Dude. And he's got on his patio, he has every conceivable barbecue contraption you
Right.
can think
Every
of.
type of apparatus.
Yeah, every type of apparatus. And he knows how to use them too. So anyway, he taught me how to reverse sear. I watched his YouTube. I burned a lot of stuff. I messed up a lot of stuff. He's the one that helped me dial it in especially with picanha.
So, this guy and other cooks like him were the reason why my dad was always like, I will never be a fat, out of shape chef.
Yeah.
Like my dad was just back in the kitchen, 225, jacked.
Yes.
Jacked.
Just freaking. I remember
Slicing and
my
dicing.
dad one time when they lived in Mississippi. My dad was working at a restaurant, and it was crazy. He was working 16, 8, 10-hour days every day, and he was still getting lifts and runs in and every single day. And he'd been busy. I'd been busy traveling and everything. We hadn't seen each other for a while. And I saw him at an event because we're at some MMA fights that I was at with my friends. And then he ended up going there because the owners of the restaurant had sponsored the fight show. They knew that my dad had loved MMA, had gone to fights. Anyway, that I had fought on that card too. And so he goes there and I'm like, holy... Dude, I'd never seen my dad this lean before. He was 185. But he was like running every day, eating super clean. And I was like, it was just like, I've always seen my dad at like 220 and plus. Like that's what he's always been. And so for him to be at 185, I mean, he was shredded to the point where I was like, is he sick? Like, like is everything all right? And I didn't mean that in a disrespectful way. I just never had seen my dad that light before. Most of the times, if he was ever cut down to really lean up, it was like 210, 215. And that was like, you're talking 6-pack at 215, like just shredded legs that looked like tree trunks, like the actual tree trunks. So like, and all of a sudden, but yeah, he was. I mean, that guy's awesome. I've seen his Instagram as well, but it was just funny. Like, I just remember my dad always like, I will not be. I will not be that statistic.
Just takes incredible amount of discipline. But I
get what you're saying. I had to throw in that little shout out
for sure. There
to
are
my dad, and then
chefs.
also to the healthy chefs out there that are listening. They're like, bro, what are you talking about? And they're going to live until like 95, and I'll be dead by 57.
Here's my thinking, though. I want the food to be so good that you fail your discipline. Like, your discipline fails you. It's so good, I can't keep my own hands off of it. That's what I'm That's what I'm looking for. I want to. You know what I mean?
I think all of us would qualify on that line of like of blending the two, the discipline with the like.
100%.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
of
dude,
course,
these guys, they're on the path, but they also like to eat.
Right. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Can't wait for Tuesday night.
Just when you see a chef that you just know can't keep his hands off stuff, that's a good restaurant to go to.
Can't wait to hear what we got planned.
Well, first,
I know, yeah.
First,
I don't know what we have going on. I know we have going on.
First and foremost, you're getting beat on the homemade axe throwing.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm just going to put out there.
I know that you drive around with like 3. Okay. I know that you drive around with like 3 tomahawks in your truck at all times, but I have 2. I have 2.
I'm just going to point out, I'm either going to be really good or really bad. There's no in between with me on axe throwing.
Yep.
When we went, who was it? It was me, you. We had a group of guys from Jiu-Jitsu.
Kramer and Todd.
Everybody was invited back then.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's get that clear. I think I got second.
I think you did.
I think I did.
So you're a first place loser?
First place loser, but I felt pretty good.
Were we on a team?
I've actually never done it.
I was on a team with Mark.
I've actually never done it, but I'm gonna kick your butt anyways.
You might.
Yeah,
if I have an off night. It's either super good or super bad.
It's so much fun.
Yeah.
It's the same thing, though. I'll just be like, oh, cool. Or, dink. I'm like,
yeah. Well, it's going to be one of those nights.
It literally is hit or miss.
So are you, in your, because I know you've thought about this, when you throw, do you keep your wrist straight or do you flick the wrist at the end?
You think you're supposed to go like that?
Yeah.
I think
like flick it?
I think you're supposed
point.
to. Yeah. You point with your thumb.
If you're doing it one-handed.
But you can't let it over-rotate. You have to,
two-hand.
Depending on the distance, it's just like 1 or 2. You know, that's it. But you want to just like beam that thing as hard as you can. That's what I want to do when I have it in my hand. But you can't. You have to like.
Yeah.
Last time I went, I did the underhand throws.
Those fun. I've tried those. I'm not good at those.
Yeah, I was good at those.
I think I was doing behind the back, and I was. You got second. That means I got first.
No.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Todd won. He was.
I think so. I don't remember that.
The guy that put together the
I feel like he was the ringer. Like, let's go axe throwing.
Yeah, right.
With the guys, so I can just
JP's
dominate.
Like, let's go long range shooting.
Hey, have you guys ever done this before?
It's my first time. We'll see how I do.
Awesome.
I'm doing a long range shooting course next weekend with Aiden.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. Yeah, my buddy Tony, is putting it on. So I signed up for it. Yeah, it's gonna be good. It's on Saturday and Sunday.
Is it in Texas?
So,
if you guys listen to my podcast, you'd know.
I do.
That's all I'm going to say.
I do listen to it.
That's all I'm going to say. It's on there.
It just came out. Well, it's Monday now.
So I've talked about it on the last 4 episodes.
What?
So I've been promoting it for him, trying to sell out the class for him.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, I know. I've
sure
listened to him
about that.
too. Huh. Okay. Interesting.
Maybe not 4, definitely 3.
I've not listened to your last 4. So.
I listen on 2 times
100%.
speed, so maybe I missed something. But.
Yeah,
See,
it's on there. I'm not going to.
I mean, I
believe
believe
you.
you.
Look at it,
I believe you,
dude. It's an insane deal. Like when I saw the pricing on that, I was like, "Oh, it's per day." He was like, "No, it's for the whole thing." I'm like, "Bro, you need to increase your prices. This is my buddy. He's a Green Beret sniper. He was on Sean Ryan's show.
Cool.
Tony Cowden. He's also been on Jocko's podcast.
Oh,
yeah. He's doing a two
Here?
day. Yep, 90 minutes from here.
JP didn't invite you.
He just did.
Yeah.
If I had listened to the podcast.
He hadn't invited you up to this point.
If I listened to the podcast, I would have known it.
I did,
And I have.
So, you know.
Tony's great.
He's a Green Beret
Tony's,
sniper.
yeah. He's a freaking, like, stud. He's probably one of, I would say, top-ranked long-range instructors I've ever worked with.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
I've been following him since Memphis when...
Yeah.
A long time.
Like,
I feel like I know him. I've never met him.
Legitimately one of the best long-range shooting instructors I've ever, like, shot with, taught with. And because I was like, hey, bro, I'm going to sign up. I want to take my son for a graduation gift just for us, just the two of us to hang out. He's like, cool, man. He's like, try to like comp my, he's like, bro, you just show up. It'll be cool. Like, we'll put your son through it. And then it's so funny. He texts me the next day. He goes, I must have been on drugs or something, which he doesn't do any drugs.
Right.
Which makes the joke even funnier. He goes, I must have been on drugs to think I'm taking money for your son. He's like, no, both of you guys are taken care of. Well, I know his courses are like a small group of people. And so like I said, with all due respect, and I mean with all due respect, sir, you can go that discount. And
he doesn't know what he's stepping into.
And but I signed up.
But
I signed up Aiden and I, and so yeah, I'm looking forward to it. You just prompted that. Tony Cowden.
Capable.
Yeah, Capable Inc. is his company. Dude, the guy is a freaking stud. Like it was a couple years ago. He did a thing where, what was it, the 500-pound deadlift, and then ran a 5-minute mile.
Yeah, that was him.
Yeah, and then he's done a few other things.
He's done
too.
a few like ultra ones too. I think I heard him on a podcast,
like a 200-mile run, like in mountains,
kidney
like,
shut down or something.
Went until the guy is he's incredible. So, anyways, shout out to Tony.
Capable Inc. Is his
Capable
Instagram.
Inc. is his
Capable
Instagram.
_Inc.
It's worth the follow.
Yep. So, anyways.
Did he work at Waffle House though? Is what I want to know. Did he work?
He's in North Carolina.
Cool.
There's plenty of Waffle Houses over there.
He's also like the perfect testament of what a Green Beret is.
Yeah.
He's super intelligent and highly capable.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he was. I got him on Jocko's podcast because he was running for local office because he's like, you know what? He's like, screw these guys. He's like, they're ruining our nation. I'm going to do something about it, and that's what I respect about him. He's like, hey, I'm not going to complain about things unless I'm actively doing something to change it.
That's
so,
awesome.
boom, he ran. He was doing some stuff. He didn't win, but he ruffled enough feathers to help kind of get stuff shifted back where they're supposed to be. And yeah, it's pretty rad.
Awesome guy.
But
I love it.
Anyways. I know we probably need to wrap.
Yeah.
This was a good one.
Thanks, guys.
It's good having all four of us back again.
Yeah.
It's nice to be with you guys.
I want to say thank you to our pursuit brother Jeremy for hooking us up with these challenge coins here. Each of us has one of these. This one is pray always, put on the whole armor of God. This one is a Lion of Judah. It says, I'm trying to read this. Hold on. Weep no more. Behold, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the root of David, has conquered. Revelation 8:8.
Wow.
It's awesome.
Thanks, bro.
Yeah, man. These have been in my gun safe for probably 2 months.
Yeah, thanks for finally sharing with us.
Yeah, so that's totally on me. I kept forgetting to bring them, but we appreciate it.
You'll get a flag now. Now you'll get a flag after finally giving us these. I got a flag for you. And you. By the way, we have, well, I don't know if I want to put it out there. At our live events, you can come get a flag from the merch
Allegedly.
table.
Hey, but we have a website's in motion, though, to where all these products are going to be available sooner
purchase.
rather than later for purchase. Website's in motion. It's happening.
We're excited about that.
Yep.
That'll be
It's going to make it way easier.
Hey, why don't you pray us out?
Roger that. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day, this time together with my brothers. Thank you for that we can dive into some scripture and some biblical teaching, Lord, and share our thoughts and personal reflections on them. Thank you for our listeners, for the support they give us. Lord, I pray that they've received some kind of blessing from this, and you would bless them as they go throughout their week. Thank you for all you've done in our lives and continue to do. And it's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
I just call.
This has been Jesus and Jiu-Jitsu Podcast, episode 064.
Go train.